Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is fashion, travel, and fitness. And joining me, as always, is my co-host and friend. She is definitely a world traveler and has the best network of friends. We're going to meet one of them today. Let's welcome to the program DIANN FLOYD. Hi, DIANN.
Hi, how are you?
It's so good to see you again. It's been so long.
That's absolutely right.
We just did this show right before this, so it's always great to share this platform with you, DIANN. And for folks who are just joining us for the first time, DIANN has been a huge supporter of USA Global TV. She is the trifecta here, which means she's a co-host, she's a talking head, she's an expert presenter, and she's an elevated listener. So you definitely want to get to know her. Her agenda is very full, her plate is heavy, but please do reach out to her because it will be life-changing, and we will put up her contact information in a minute. DIANN, this show, fashion, travel, and fitness, we never know what we're going to get because there's so many fabulous topics to discuss. But today's show is all about getting back to traveling and what that looks like. And I would love to just spotlight you for a minute and have you share your background with our audience and about your world travels and what they've meant to you.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today I'm in Houston, Texas, by the way, so I'm really excited for the kickoff for the rodeo today. And traveling, to me, it's a dream come true. I was, just like everyone else, a little girl growing up, and I'd look out at the moon at night time and dream of a magic carpet and seeing the world, and how blessed I am now that we have airplanes that can be the magic carpet to share and show the world. And I'm married to a wonderful man who was a diplomat, and that was my first kickoff to seeing the world. So I've been to the Philippines and different islands around the Philippines, as well as many places in Europe and the Middle East. So I feel very lucky. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN.
Thanks, DIANN. And if you would share, where did you meet our guest today? Our guest, where did you meet her, Konstantina?
Konstantina. Well, what an experience that was. It was a branding experience for women who wanted to learn how to improve their own branding in their work. So it was a combination of business and exploring. And so we traveled to Greece, where I met Konstantina, and she showed us parts of Greece that we never, ever, ever would have seen. And excuse me, I have a little cold. And so, wow, it was miraculous. I mean, we were with cooks and chefs and in the mountains and at the lakes, but what a beautiful spirit she is that the guests are about, the listeners are about to discover with our guest, because she is a world traveler herself, an amazing writer, and to read her blogs, you will have felt like you've gone to those different countries.
Thank you very much for capturing the essence of our friendship.
You're welcome.
It's so nice to have you back on the platform again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
So we were talking backstage about the fact that people are getting back out there and traveling again. And Diann, I loved your magic carpet analogy because I always thought about that too, that magic carpet. But there are so many ways to travel and so many places to see. Konstantina, I would love for you to share about your background as a humanitarian and then how you've channeled it into writing and then how the writing is related to traveling.
Yes. Actually, it started from the other way around. I have a business background. This is where I was working. And during a sabbatical that I took a few years ago, I started traveling more intensely. And I saw that this changed me in a way that I wanted to document it. So this is how I started writing for myself. And I continue. For me, writing is like an inner discussion. It's like a meditation that finally helps me understand who I am and how I grow and where I want to go. And this also happens through traveling. Traveling gives me the experiences, gives me the ammunition to grow, paves the way. When COVID hit and we were forced to stay inside, again, serendipity hit and something new happened. So my previous background on humanitarian work, which was rather NGO work, not so much humanitarian, brought me to Lebanon, where I'm also talking today. And I started collaborating with a local NGO here for UN-funded projects, humanitarian work in a country that is right now experiencing a big turmoil, a financial collapse, and a complete change and disintegration of its social structure. So this is where I am today. It combines the traveling. Of course, I use the time not only to experience the country, but most of all to experience the people. Because for me, this is traveling. It's not only to take a nice photo in front of a landmark or maybe to see an archaeological site of which I'm very fond or to try the local cuisine, which again is a passion, but to connect with people, to hear their stories, understand who they are, where they come from, and see where we connect. And through this path, I realize usually how similar we all are, and it gives me a sense of inner peace. You cannot be angry to people when you see how similar you are, when you see the similarities. And that's how I connect to the world and I connect with myself.
What a beautiful, that's powerful. Thank you.
I don't know where to go. There's so much there. The fact that you're in Lebanon, I absolutely love Lebanon. It's a beautiful country and it has hard times. I mean, the history of Lebanon is tough.
True. We remember always to say the tough times, only the recent civil war that was here. But the truth is that the Eastern Mediterranean, since the Bronze Age, is constantly in some kind of war. Why? Because of the geography, because of the ports, because of the mountains, because of the fertile land or everything. So it is in the part of the Mediterranean where things are never settled.
Never settled.
Never.
And is it still called, or it used to be called, the Pearl of the Middle East, right?
It has been called many things, especially Beirut, not so much Lebanon. It has been called the Paris of the Middle East. Yes, many things, and to mostly, not necessarily to describe its beauty, although one can see that it has some very beautiful corners, but mostly to describe how prominent it used to be, especially in the 60s and the 70s. It could have taken the world that the Gulf has today, because it has the infrastructure, it has the people, it had. Now, of course, the civil war came, and ever since the country has not really bounced back fully, and now it's again another turmoil. Yeah. And the turmoil is not only financial, of course it is, but the fact that the society loses its footing. You do not know, there are the gaps between the society levels, the social levels. These are changing. This is a very, you do not know where to stand. And that's a very difficult thing. And I would not like to connect it to Lebanon. I would like to connect it to our experience with COVID. everybody, all of us, we lost a little bit our footing. Where do we stand? I want to connect it now with what happens in Europe with Ukraine. We are shocked that there are developments that they force us to look at things differently. So this is part of life, of course. It forces us to see things differently. And again, I want to go back to the role of each one individually. Where do we stand? How do we react to this? What do we do? And every small thing can make a difference.
I love that. Every small thing can make a difference.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to play a clip that we just received from our guest from the last show. It's about helping children in the Ukraine, and we're asking each and every one of our viewers and our listeners to do their part to help, because every little bit, as you just mentioned, makes a difference.
Exactly.
Let's just take a look at this clip, and then we'll be right back. Thank you.
Меня зовут Маша, мне 9 лет, я живу в Красногоровке, у меня все хорошо. Кушать у нас есть, пить у нас есть, сахар у нас есть, все есть. Только дров не хватает. На буржуйке, когда у нас есть, вот эти мы дрова пособираем, закинем, оно горит. Например, в 10 запалили, в 11 закончили, вода нагрелась, и все, и мы купаемся.
В наш дом 4 было прямых попаданий, так что мы боимся. Человека даже осколками поранило, забрали в больницу с 6-го подъезда соседа, так что мы тоже боимся, у нас много деток. Деваться нам некуда, нас никто нигде не ждет.
Когда вырасти, я хочу найти работу такую, чтобы я помогала людям, которые бедные, там...
You know what I didn't realize the first time I watched that, Diane and Konstantina, is the little girl, she's saying, I'm fine. We have everything. Did you see that? That's what that she was saying, that she said we have everything except for firewood. And I think here we're constantly like everything we don't have. We don't have this, we don't have that. And she's saying we have everything. Wow, I was just really moved by that.
Wow, good point. Good point.
This is true. And sometimes in adversity, we remember how much we have. This is a very positive thing. Of course, the distraction is very strong, but it's only a week. So hopefully, let's see that hope things will not escalate. But so maybe they're not experiencing all the, lack of food yet, or these big things. But how we choose to see the world and how we choose to see the difficulties that come in our lives, that's a major thing. This is our choice. And this is where we stand.
Absolutely. And I think that there's something to be said about traveling as well. People can look at this as this is a great time to travel, or I'm afraid and terrified to leave my home.
This is something that I saw in many people, although many in their mind want to travel, but after 2 years, we got kind of uncomfortable. So there are many people who still feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm pretty sure this will quickly be resolved, and we are going to go back, all of us. I mean, I'm still traveling, but we are going to go all of us back to traveling, possibly intensely. My question is, and this is a question that I pose to myself, how will I go back? Do I want to pick up exactly where I left it in the beginning of 2020? Or I want to go back as a different person, as an enhanced person, a person who learned something from the experience, from the humanity, from the connection that we had even through social media or technology. We were apart and still we were together. We talked about the sustainability of the planet. We talked about our footprint. There were many points that were raised during these 2 years that seem almost forgotten. Right now, we think as if we are still 2019 and 20. And when I say 2022, it's like a shock even to me. I still believe that it's like yesterday. But 2 years passed. Who are we now that we go back to the world? And what are we going to bring to the country that we will visit, to the place we will visit?
Diane, do you want to answer that?
Oh, boy. I was sitting there trying to think. I'm going to have to write those questions down and really focus on them and internally make sure that I grow. I mean, I feel like I've grown since the 2 years, and I would hate to think that people would say I'm going to go back to where exactly I was 2 years ago, whether it's COVID or not. You shouldn't be going backwards. You should always go forward and should always be learning. I mean, the fact that every day you get to, if you're blessed to open your eyes, that means it's a day to learn something and to give back. What do you think?
I definitely agree. Yes. I think that learning, that's something that's in my blood. I'm every day researching something. Our guests from the last show, they were talking about how they research all the time. And Konstantina, you do as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Every day is a gift, of course, and every day gives us something that makes us better people, more. Of course, this is the path of life. However, especially for the traveling, because I've seen people, even last September, that I traveled with friends that I have traveled before, the reaction was entirely different because it's as if people come out of a cage and suddenly they're like children. They want to, they kind of lose themselves. I said, but these people, they have been traveling for decades. What happened? So this traveling is, it's not forgotten, but we have to readjust ourselves. It's like going back to school. The first weeks of going back to school, all the children feel a little bit off until you get again back to the schedule and back to the program and the parents and the driving. It's like the beginning of September in the school year.
That's a great analogy. I love it.
We've talked a number of times on this platform about living a wireless life. So being able to travel and be independent and work from wherever you are. What are your thoughts about that?
I admit that this is something that I'm kind of doing and I want to do. Although my base is in Greece, I do not consider myself that I'm permanently living there. I like it because I have my house, I have my family, my nephews, my sisters, my brothers. But now that I will be in Lebanon for a month and a half, I will go to Dubai. Then there will be, the summer will come, I will have more travels, hopefully. It doesn't mean that I disconnect all the time. It doesn't mean that I work fully all the time, but it doesn't mean that I disconnect. I want to be flexible, and I want to experience life the way that I want it and not to be forced to be static or to follow, to be grounded. It's a little bit too much. I like it, but I want to have flexibility to do it the way that I want. Of course, this is a great thing to do. And now, again, the past 2 years helped increase technology in many cases. But on the other side, there are many areas that cannot support this fully. Internet is iffy, especially when there are many people. You cannot find places, you cannot find quiet places, or internet might be expensive. So I think the world is adjusting to that. What used to be, now we will see if it continues, these travel nomads that they were going and they were posting on the Instagram and making money, making a life out of this. We do not know if this will continue, but professionals now can work from anywhere, and they should have the flexibility to continue. So let's see how this will turn out. I'm in favor.
Obviously.
Thank you so much. Diane, you're someone who travels quite frequently. What are your thoughts about a wireless life and independent working?
I love it because we can do shows like yours where we can empower people to fall in love with people around the world. That's so important, and help us to share with people how we are more alike than different, which is, the themes to so many of my children's books, because that helps bring more peace, because we're only afraid, as they say, we're only afraid of what we don't know. But once you know something, you're like, I don't know why I was so afraid. So I love the wireless world. I loved my days teaching in the classroom, but I was that strange teacher. Like, I was the first one to have computers, in the very first Apple IIe in the classroom. I wanted to bring the world to the kids. And now the world, I mean, wow, wireless, how amazing is that? It's just incredible. And people like you, Konstantina, that's traveling. And can you share with our audience, because I'm sure there's people out there who would love to have you as a role model. How do you do it? How do you survive? If I went to do it right now, I wouldn't be able to buy my bread to eat.
It's a little bit difficult to explain because actually things came my way. I'm capitalizing on my expertise. My expertise is on the business side, but I can run a project, I can put things together, I know to deal with people, I know about teams, I can write well, and this is an important asset because sometimes you really need to put things together and people cannot. So, and I bilingual, I can write in English very well, I can write in Greek for my country if needed. And plus I ran a few trips. Now that we are going to go back, they're very boutique, they're very eclectic, I would say. And I focus right now mostly on, I will say history and culture, but my focus is not to give a lecture about historical place, but for us to connect the dots and understand by something that we see who we are today and why we are who we are today. How did we end up here? So this is my passion, to connect the dots from the past to see where we stand today and what choices do we make to go tomorrow. It's always around the human nature.
I'd love to hear more about these eclectic trips, these boutique type of trips. Can you tell us more?
Yes, I usually do them now in Greece because this is my backyard and it is much easier. But when I'm inspired by a place, and for instance, I was planning to do things in Lebanon too. Of course, now this is not the time. But when something inspires me and I gain the knowledge, because I go back, I read, I listen, I do my own exploration, and then I come back to present something which usually a traveler in a week does not have the time to invest. But for Greece, it's a little bit easier because, of course, I have the background to help me. I can understand more the local culture. And I like to have small groups that we go on a road trip and we see some of the highlights and some of the things that usually a foreigner will not see because they do not know. And through that, walk back in time a little bit and then comes here and see why are we here. Even something very spectacular or very well known like the Parthenon, that everybody goes and everybody sees and everybody, you take the picture. Why is it important? Is it important only because it's a symbol of my country? No. Is it important because it's so well built? Yes and no. What is the importance? Why do we go and we make such a fuss about it? There is something that really is defining from this building and this decision actually to make the building until today. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the essence. This is my passion.
Your whole face lit up when you were talking. That truly is passion.
But what was so neat about the boutiques she did, and are you still doing this where, let's say, Lorraine, she wanted to bring people together, women who wanted to improve their branding, to learn what branding is, but also to have a balance in their workplace, and but to do it in such a way that you were growing as a human being, which we did in so many ways underneath your leadership. Is that still the type of thing you're doing in your boutiques?
This can be done. I admit that after Lorraine, we didn't have that much time. I mean, COVID was very close. So the whole industry got disrupted. So right now I have not collaborated again in the concept like with Lorraine to have someone who is having like a coaching training session, a developmental session, and then I add the value of the trip. But this can also be done, and possibly it will now that we go back to traveling.
Excellent. So it was a great idea, because I know JACALYN, Dr. JACALYN, you have so many people, and you know that follow you, have looked for you as leadership, and I know you want to do a conference, but a boutique conference with Konstantina might be kind of fun.
Yes, another great idea from Diann. Thank you.
If we decide to experience the beauty of the Mediterranean, it would be amazing. It would be amazing, because I think that the traditional concept of the conference is gradually growing. The technology has offered us opportunities to grow this further. So when people travel right now, I believe that they are looking more than the conference. They're looking for the experience that will help them grow. So this can really be a magnificent experience, something that can, something to remember. If you don't have something to remember, you have not really grown. So this is the target.
I agree with you. When I was in my corporate role, we sold experiences and memories, you know, because I was always about getting the awards, the trophies, the plaques, whatever. But if you could actually have an experience with a group of people to celebrate something, that's something you'll remember the rest of your life.
Exactly. Actually, recently I was in a discussion with senior people, with CEOs. It was in Greece, but I think this is international. And the whole thing about culture and the whole, it's about the bond that creates the joy that comes in the work, comes from the joy that the bond between the people, among the people, and the celebration of our successes. This is the essence of who we are. This is what brings joy to not only to our lives, but to the workplace as well, which is often forgotten. And that's an important thing, because you combine it with the conference. It's not only our personal life and our work life, or our spiritual life and our development. Everything is connected. And this is what it's important to, not only to tackle, but to support and to satisfy.
Yes, and just add on to that, if you think about this platform here, Diann, I've never actually met anyone in person, and think about if when we're all together, what that will be like.
It's going to be so much fun.
True. I'm planning to go to Dubai in like 3 weeks, and I have not been for like 2-3 years, and I'm messaging all my friends for the reunion. And it's exciting to meet face to face and to, I don't know, to hug, possibly, hopefully.
Yes. And you're going to see so many more buildings, new ones that have opened up since I lived there and since you've been there too. So
yes, but I want to see the museum, this modern museum that they have made. I mean, this is, I think, and the expo.
Yes.
Now, Konstantina, friends with Katrina Valente, our team member?
They haven't met.
Oh, I think they should.
They should, yes.
She's in Dubai?
Yes.
Well, then maybe you give me the contacts, and it would be a real pleasure. Because Dubai, actually, the culture in Dubai is that you meet people.
That's right.
You need to be an extrovert. You need to go out. The life itself forces you to be out and to meet people. So that's very, very normal and very common.
Yes, I'll make sure Dr. JACALYN can as well. So
thank you. That's so exciting. Wow. It just seems like, to me, when I hear about Dubai, I just think of that movie Sex and the City. Did you see it?
It was actually banned.
Yeah, I didn't see it because I was in Dubai, so I don't have to see it.
Yeah. They finally let it in after they could wipe out some things. So
Yeah, but it was filmed, I think, in Abu Dhabi, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was
yes.
City.
Yeah,
but
it did play in Abu Dhabi.
Mission Impossible was in Dubai. This was
Yes.
a very big. I remember everyone going to the movies to see Tom Cruise hanging from the Burj Khalifa, and
and he did his own stunts.
It was yeah. I mean, even I celebrated because you suddenly feel that you are part of it.
Oh man, I remember when that came out. I was like,
I'm
right here with this, right?
Yeah, especially after I read, as to your point, that he did his own stunts. I thought, this is unbelievable. Like, when you know that, and then it's him up there hanging, just.
And that is really high up.
That was really high up.
That was really high up.
Yeah. Oh my
so,
goodness.
I know you wrote the book a long time ago, but I find that your book was really good. If you want to, I don't know if you're still selling it on Amazon or not, but it was a really good book. I think it touches people's hearts.
Thank you very much. Yes, of course it is there. It was the book that I wrote after my sabbatical when I did 7 trips, and I felt these 7 trips took me on the hero's journey, and they helped me to grow. So every trip was taking me a bit further and a bit deeper. So by the end, I had concluded the so-called hero's journey, which is of course a very spiritual concept, and I was reborn. So this was the concept of the book. Now, a few years down the road, I look back to the book and I realized that the book itself was part of the process. It helped me clarify things. It helped me complete the healing, if you will. So it was a book that had to be written. It was asking to be written. It had to be written. And because of that, I believe that it echoes in some people's heart if they are in the same level, in the same path, or they are about to have the similar experience, because that's how you resonate. But it was the most important on an individual level. It was the surprise when I understood that writing is part of the creative process of creating oneself. And that's why I continue still to write. I write small pieces with the process of documenting a development, the unfolding of life, and then putting some together in a meaningful way to create like small pockets of attention to the moment, or reverence towards a moment. Some things that sometimes we miss, but our life is actually full of moments. It's not full of big events, but full of special moments.
That's so true. We have a clock in the kitchen, and it ticks very loudly every minute. Tick, tick. And I think about this moment, that moment. They're all so precious.
Exactly. It's our bank account, and it's only getting depleted. So really, the point is, if you have money, if you take it out of the bank account, what do you do with it? So if you have time, what do you do? And one thing is to say, okay, what do I do on the humanitarian, or build this business or whatever? But it's not only that. What do I do about my well-being? What joy? How happy am I? What joy do I manage to bring to my life? Because I always believe that when we leave from this world, what we leave behind as legacy is our joy, our happiness, the peace that we brought. This is the most important gift for me.
And we were talking on a couple of shows this last week about traveling as an escape. And we're just talking about moments in time. And I think it's really important that when you travel, you bring your authentic self with you, as opposed to trying to run from yourself and find a beach.
Yes. I do not believe that, of course, the practice of running from ourselves is very helpful, but in the long run. But however, there are times like when we also watch a movie or a series now, like Netflix, you go on, you start a series and you go through the whole season in a day or something. Sometimes we need to, if something is bothering us, we need to forget it in order to move forward. So we are not actually escaping from ourselves. We just put a pause on the thoughts that bother us. And usually when we do this, through traveling, through meditation, through watching a movie, through, I don't know, playing with your kids or whatever way we choose, usually you come back with a clearer mind and then you can make a decision. So you're not actually escaping. Maybe you are testing the waters or resting the surface in order to make a decision. I think this is what usually is happening.
I think it sounds like what you're referring to is compartmentalizing. And I think that the male brain is very good at doing that, putting things into different boxes, like where you put socks. Did you ever see how you have those racks where you stick the socks? Yeah. So you can compartmentalize or put something away temporarily and then come back and revisit it.
This is true. And if we want to take it like a male attribute, we can, because then it's a very successful one. We women tend to get sometimes emotional, and being able to juggle with many things, sometimes we get overwhelmed. Being able to put a pause in something and come back to it with a clearer mind, it's a very good ability or gift. So it's highly recommended. And that's why men are very sometimes successful. It gives them the ability to focus, to forget about something else and focus. So that's not bad.
No, I think it's a good thing. Focus is what we're missing in a lot of ways in life. We're so distracted by so many things.
Correct. And if this can be done through traveling, and you can, keep your mind open to new things and stop thinking about everyday life, that's an excellent way to use your time.
Yes, and I found traveling to satisfy two areas, probably more, but one is the education piece where you're constantly learning something. And then to take that a second step, it's also learning about yourself and how you show up in other environments with new people and different cultures.
Absolutely. I found what we said before about the escape happening not only in the normal trip, but mostly like the adventure trip. When I saw many hikers do this, because hiking is a very meditative process. You cannot walk and talk a lot of time. You spend a lot of time with yourself, and the pace of the movement that is a little bit monotonous, and you go and you go and you go for hours, having a destination, having a target, it clears the mind. It's one of the most amazing things that happens, and many people find this so relieving that they do as an escape. It doesn't mean always that they come back happier. So indeed, it's an escape that might not always work fully. But as for me, I found it revealing, to be honest. I was walking. It was a meditative process. I was clearing, cleansing without understanding. At the end of the trail, I was a different person.
I love that. Clearing, cleaning. DIANN,
it's really amazing.
It is a very cathartic process.
Exactly. This is the correct word. It's a cathartic process.
I agree. So on another note, if people, what is it that you're enjoying about Lebanon right now? Since you're in Lebanon, I'd love for you to talk about Lebanon.
Yes. Okay, besides the food,
yes.
I think I mostly enjoy the people. I always enjoyed the people. The Lebanese are quite special. They manage to combine, they are two extremes. Of course, they manage to combine the extreme of the chaos with joy. And you do not know what you're going to get every time, but they are creative. They are communicative. You can learn a lot from them. And even though now they don't like the word resilience, because, of course, after years and years, the resilience seems like a futile, it seems like an empty word. However, the Lebanese make Lebanon. Lebanon is a country that, of course, historically, that's why it's so always a little bit in a mess. It's because it was created as a combination of several interests. And this because they have not blended together yet. It's difficult to create the unity. the Lebanese today, despite these things that can keep them apart, are still together. And this is a small miracle. And I enjoy seeing it.
Thank you so much. There's so much more to talk about, but we've actually come to the end of our show, unfortunately.
True. Always time is less than when you discuss with good friends.
It just flies by, doesn't it, Diane? Every show, I'm just like, whoop.
It absolutely does. I mean, I was ready to go on and talk about Tyre and Lebanon, so just save it for another time.
Well, yeah, we'll have to have you back another time. And I'm so glad that you came back this time. And please feel free to just keep booking because you have a lot to share.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's such a pleasure talking, discussing with you. Indeed, time flies like that.
And Konstantina, I'm going to spotlight you for people who'd like to reach out to you. Who would you like to contact you, and what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can go to my site, where they can see, first of all, they can subscribe if they want to receive my thoughts from my travels. They can also find the link to my book. And my email is konstantina@myunusualjourneys.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Easy to remember.
It was lovely seeing you again, and I look forward to hearing you come back and sharing more about traveling.
Likewise. It's always great to be in the show. Thank you very much, and thank you for the very enjoyable discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Love to your family.
Bye-bye. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Diane, so much for bringing her to the show.
Oh, you're welcome. Isn't she a doll?
She is. She's a sweetheart.
Her boutique travel is incredible. I've never been on a vacation and it was a vacation, even though it was learning and working. I never felt that at all. It was amazing. It was truly amazing.
All the people you know and all the places that you've been, it's just, and everybody, like you're like this with everyone, you just have these incredible connections. It's really a beautiful thing, Diane.
Oh, thank you. I just love people. And, I just feel like the angels bring people together. Like, look how you and I met. It was so serendipity. And yet, it was meant to be, the connections. And I just thank the angels. I think they work through all of us if we are open to receive.
I definitely agree with you. And I know you have a big day today, and please say hello to Zane. But before we go, I want to just play your Song of Peace. And I'd love to spotlight you and just have you share with the audience what it is we'll be looking at.
Sure. So you're going to be looking at my latest children's book, A Song of Peace. And boy, do we need that more than anything right now. So it's about a little boy named Tommy who wishes we could have peace on earth. And if you could email me at diannefloydbame.com, I can share with you how you can help be part of a song of peace in real life. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN.
DiANNFloydBOEHM.com.
Wow, Diane, that was quite a piece, and just moving every time. And thank you so much for asking me to be part of it. I always forget I'm in there. I'm like, oh,
I get touched by it too. The commercial, what was made by your group, was incredible. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And Diane, I have your banner up on Spotlight. And I know you already shared your website address, but one more time for the people listening on the radio and people watching.
Sure. It's Diann Floyd BOEHM, DIANN Thank you, Dr. JACALYN.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Diane. I'll see you in just a couple minutes.
Will do. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. Well, thank you again. I really mean it. I say this every time, but it comes from my heart. I appreciate each and every one of you who is watching our shows, who are following us. We do stream live from Monday through Friday. We have about 20 shows a week. If you'd like to be a guest, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. And we would love to have you join us so you can share your story wherever you are in the world. I just want to share this once again, emergency relief for children. You saw the clip that we played from UNICEF. The website is www.unicef, which is UNICEF, Please do help out and contribute whatever you can to help the children of the Ukraine. All right. Thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you very shortly back for the business show. All right. Take care. Thank you.